Book one I'm about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of his advocacy teaches people to be transparent, steadfast, confident, and durable despite circumstances or the odds. None other than Mr. David Pasqualone.
How are you, Daniel?
Fabulous and excellent, Mr. David. Welcome on Book One Wonder. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah, no problem. I'm a sales and marketing consultant by profession. So we do everything from putting together the strategic plans to coaching the teams along the way, how to achieve the goals, to building websites and not just SEO, but AEO, GEO, and voice search optimization. So we kind of just help quality businesses grow. And we do it for local businesses, we do it for Fortune 500 companies. As long as they have a good moral base and they want to be number one, we help them grow. So that's my
Mm.
profession. And as a great side hobby, I get to be the host of the Remarkable People podcast. So, like you, I get to interview people from all around the world and help our listeners grow. And
Mhm.
then I got two amazing, they're not even kids anymore, they're adults. I got a 23-year-old son in the Air Force and a 21-year-old daughter in California. And I'm proud of them and love them both.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. David. Thank you. And today let's talk about staying positive despite overwhelming circumstances. The phrase stay positive can feel insulting during true hardship. What is the crucial difference between toxic positivity and a kind of resilient mindset you advocate for, Mr. David?
Yeah, so if you're just saying I'm a skilled metal worker, I'm a skilled metal worker, that doesn't make you a skilled metal worker, right? But when you look at each situation and put it in perspective, I know myself in my personal life many times over the 48 years I've been on this planet, my actual circumstances and situations may not have changed at all, but my mindset and perspective did on them. And in a moment, the whole paradigm shifted, and I went from angry, disgruntled, depressed to completely at peace and okay, what's the next step to take care of this? So having that positive mindset in reality is what you got to do. And sometimes you do have to remind yourself and it doesn't feel right, but you're like, no, it's going to be okay. It's this is happening for a reason. I may not understand it, but it is happening for a reason. And like I said, I say this from experience. I've had every type of uh, major life occurrence that most people think of. There's always things that nobody that I haven't had that you've had and our listeners have had. But I mean, I've had major financial issues. I've had major professional issues. I've had major relational issues, family issues. I was critically ill on two separate occasions, not just for days, weeks, or months, but for years. So the thing that was the core is God was always with me through it all. And I knew that. So even when doctors were telling me to make out, for instance, when I was sick physically, they're like, get your affairs in order. You're going to die, make out your will, blah, blah, blah. I knew I was going to be okay because I was either going to die and see God in eternity or he had a purpose for this and I was going to live. And his will was I lived. So I'm here today with you.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your encouragement to the world, Mr. David. We salute you for that. Let's start with the permission. In your view, is it not only okay but necessary to fully feel despair, anger, or grief before the constructive mindset can emerge?
Yeah, I think it's you play how you practice. And
Mm,
even emotionally, the more the healthier you are, the faster you get from point A to point B. But there's definitely a progression through your feelings and emotions. And if you don't be real and be honest and face the pain, you can't get through it. So yeah, I agree with you that, if you have something horrible happen, a horrible betrayal, or something at work happens and you're set up and you didn't do it, you got to go through the emotions, the rage, the sadness, the whatever it is you're feeling, but then say, okay, 2 plus 2 is always 4. Here's my situation. What's the next step I take? And we may not see the big picture, but God will always show us the next step.
Definitely, God will show you the way, people, and it happened for a reason, as Mr. David said. Sooner or later, you realize, oh, this happened because of that, this happened because of this. You talk about positive, not as a permanent failing, but as a direction. Can you describe what it look like to be move in a positive direction while still carrying a heavy emotional weight?
Yeah, so emotions are great. And, if there's perfect balance, some people are way too emotional and some people are way too robotic. I am more towards the robotic side than I am the emotional side. So I have to be careful for that. But when you are going through something, no matter where you are in the spectrum, you have to again be honest with yourself, with God, with other people. Say, this is a situation and I feel like crying. I feel like punching that person in the face. I feel like staying in bed. Those are your feelings, and that's okay. Those are like the lights on your car. They give you an indication of what's going on with your vehicle, but that's not what you live by. Okay. You know, okay, I still have to get up and go to work tomorrow. I still have to take care of my family. I still have to, whatever. So you do what you have to do, and God will always give you strength for that. But you don't necessarily follow your feelings because you can read the Bible, Old Testament or New. Anytime somebody followed their feelings, it went terribly bad in your life, in my life. If you look at feelings, if we solely run on feelings, things explode in a terrible way. So I always like told my kids, look at Jesus. He didn't feel like going to the cross. He didn't feel like being crucified. He didn't feel like being betrayed, but he did it because it was the right thing and it saved us all. So that's what I encourage people is feelings, take them into account, understand them, appreciate them, because you don't just feel pain, but you feel joy and happiness and exhilaration. There's a lot of great feelings and there's a lot of bad feelings, but that's why we want to just keep working towards balance.
Balance indeed, people. You need to balance everything. So, Mr. David, let's talk about the mechanics of the mind under siege. When circumstances are overwhelming, our inner narrative often turns catastrophic. What is one practical cognitive technique to interrupt that spiral and create a silver of mental space?
So depending on your situation, like, is it I got to make a decision right now? Is it you have like a few minutes? If I was spiraling out, I just remind myself of truth. So
Mm,
no, like for instance, I was sick, critically ill twice, very bad. Okay.
okay.
So if something happens to me now and it resembles that, I'm pretty much healed, but there's still part of my brain in a certain circumstances like, whoa, oh, is that happening again? Right. And I'm like,
Yes.
no. So I remind myself of truth. You're 48. You've been healthy for years. You got nothing wrong with you. You're literally super healthy. You go to the doctor and the insurance company, and they're like giving you preferred elite status. There's nothing wrong. And if there is, it's God's will and it's going to be perfect. So I just remind myself of truth. That's like the quickest, fastest way. Okay. Then if I have more time, a little more time, I breathing. The Navy SEALs made box breathing really famous, where you like breathe in 5 seconds, hold it 5 seconds, release it 5 seconds, hold it 5 seconds, or it could be three, it could be 10. But basically, you regulate your breathing and slow your heart rate. That helps. And then that brings that focus back. And then if there's time, my favorite and most effective way, because the way my mind works, it runs a lot and it runs fast. So I have a hard time sleeping, not falling asleep, but staying asleep peacefully. And if I wake up now and I'm being tormented by bad dreams, I'll just take a notebook, Daniel, and I'll write down. The Bible says, Jesus says, cast your cares on me, because
Burden.
my load is easy and my burden is light. Right. So I
Mm-hmm.
write down everything real quick that's bothering me, and I write it all down, and then I shut the book and I pray to God and I say, Jesus, these are yours. And then I go back to bed and I sleep like a baby. But you can do that in the middle of the day too. You don't have to do it at night. That's just when I tend to do it most. So those are three quick techniques: is one, remind yourself of truth; two, remind yourself truth and breathing; and three is absolutely writing down in a journal all the burdens you have, and then praying over them and going on with life. And then another thing is, if you really have time, you go back to that journal and you take all the lies that Satan's trying to torment you with, and you write the truth next to it. And then if you really want to go far, you put a verse next to each of those that's not just truth, but like this is a Bible promise. Okay. And then from there, Satan has no power over you.
Yes, you know your why. People know your why. So, Mr. David, the brain has a negativity bias for survival. How does we consciously or consistently recruit our attention to notice a neutral over, well, mildly good data points without denying the larger problem?
So I think some things in life are learned and some things are born.
Yes,
And I don't know if everything is negative. Some people are really positive by nature. So repeat your question. I want to make sure I understand it and answer it correctly.
definitely. So, the brain has a negative or negativity bias for survival. How does do we consciously and consistently recruit our attention to notice a neutral or even mildly good data points without denying the larger problem?
Yeah, I guess just bring it back to truth. Bring everything back to truth. Like, so somebody loses their job, they get in a car accident, they got bills coming in they can't pay, right? So their brain's gonna
Hmm.
be like, oh, I'm gonna go bankrupt. It's gonna go way out to the 99 out of 100 times that stuff's not gonna happen. And that's what people stress about 99% of their day. So you just say, here's the facts. What's the most valuable use of my time right now? What can I do right now to contribute to fixing this? So you're praying to God, you're asking for the big picture vision, but in between, normally you just get the next step. But it's really always reframing the chaos with truth.
Reframing the chaos and trust God, people. In a crisis, our sense of urgency shrinks. We are the most powerful micro actions or influence points someone can identify to rebuild a sense of, I can do something.
When you are a child, you have a child, you train them and you give them some responsibility. And then whether they fail or succeed, you help them learn. A loving parent helps them learn how to do it right so they succeed in little things. And again, the Bible talks about when you're faithful in the little things, then God will give you the big things.
Mhm.
So by consciously and every day working in all areas of our life and trying to be the best person we can be in every area, working on the small things. Again, you play how you practice. If you have a problem losing your temper, then okay, I'm going to talk to this person. They always tick me off. Hold a tack in your hand, whatever it is, just hold it and think, I am not going to lose my temper. I'm going to handle this. It's okay. Okay? And you just keep working and keep practicing and keep growing as a human, and those little victories in one area lead to huge victories in others. And it's kind of like building a physical structure. If you build a house, if you build a mansion, Or if you build a workshop, a shed, all of those structures are different scale, but it's all the same building principles. You have the plan, the vision, you lay the foundation, you build the structure. You know what I mean? There's a same order to it all. So if you can be faithful in the little things, God will bless you and you'll be faithful in the big things, hopefully.
Mm,
Not hopefully
certainly.
on God's side, but hopefully on ours.
Certainly, Mr. David. So let's talk about the foundation practices or beyond affirmations. Many people find gratitude practices feel hollow when suffering. How can someone refrain or deepen gratitude so it become an anchor of perspective, not a denial of pain?
Practice again, just seriously. And there is some, so I believe that, people call it the law of attraction. People, you reap what you sow. There's all different names for it.
Mm-hmm.
And positive thinking, there is a place for it, especially at the beginning, because we are so just corrupted by the world and by just greed and by ungratefulness and by discontent, that it's so much out there, it's easy to lose focus. So to get up each day and to reflect on the things you are grateful for, or to, like, hey, you know what, my car's has some issues, but I have a car. My house, it's not big enough for my family, in my opinion, right now, but I'm thankful I have a roof over our heads and we're safe. You got to look at the good, and you keep doing that and focusing on the good and repeating it out loud. And then it gets easier every day, and it becomes, like you were saying, it just becomes second nature. So you're kind of reprogramming yourself from that negative that you picked up somewhere to a positive, healthy mindset. And repetition to that is the key, I believe.
So, Mr. David, what are your short term and long term goals?
Uh, Long term is always the same. I really like our podcast. It's just to glorify God and help people grow. So that's what I truly do. Hopefully, I can please God in this life and in eternity to come. When it comes to earth and short term goals, I I have a business, so I like to see it thrive. I like to, take care of my employees and help their families thrive, my clients. I mean, I really care about other people often more than myself. So my short-term goals are to continue to grow the podcast, to reach more people, to continue to grow my business so I can help more customers and employ more people. And even though it sounds like froofy crap that everybody says, I really mean it. Like, I'm thankful I got a great life. And a couple things, everybody has issues, but overall, I got a really great life, and it hasn't always been that way. So I appreciate it, but I want to make sure I'm moving forward. I'm loving God, I'm loving people, and I'm helping whoever I can. So, there's that thing, your biggest testimonial or preaching or your biggest endorsement for God is live it. You shouldn't have to tell somebody that you're a Christian. They should say that person is Christ like. So hopefully that's what I can live up to.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. David, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a podcast host like us?
Oh, for a podcast host specifically,
Mm-hmm.
do it because you are called to do it, you love it, and there's a greater purpose than you're just trying to, be famous or be rich. Because there's a lot of work, and you don't see, like, we're talking now into a camera in our homes. So you don't see the thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people watching your show. You're there alone. So it's between you and God. And to stay motivated, over the last 8 years, our podcast, we've 8 seasons, no, 13 seasons, 8 years, hundreds of episodes. There's been many times where I've been tired at 1 a.m. and you don't want to get that episode done, but you got to do it because you made a commitment. So for podcasters out there, do it because it's what is in your heart that God put in there, and be committed to do it and do it. Don't quit. And then wherever it goes, it goes. But a great, I think it was Alex Sanfilippo, Pod Match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was him for sure, but I think it was. He was saying that if I invited you to speak at my business to 100 people, would you come? And everybody's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, okay, so why are you down when your podcast gets 100 downloads and everybody's quiet? Everybody wants a million downloads an episode, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
not all the Joe Rogan experience, but
True.
you need to be the Daniel Lucas experience. I need to be the David Pasqualone experience. And hopefully we're both God's experience, right? But if you could speak to 100 people a week, man, you're pouring yourself into 100 lives. So 50, 25, who cares? So when
Mm-hmm.
you go into podcasting, you got to go in for the right reasons. And I will say, the global footprint and the money will come. I did 6 of the 8 years where well, I shouldn't say that. We took affiliates and sponsors at the beginning for the first year, and then I stopped, and then I started 2 years ago. But our affiliates and sponsors, it's helping our customers like My Pillow. You go to mypillow.com, use promo code remarkable, and you get 30 to 80% off everything you order. It's the best sheets, pillows, mattress toppers I've ever used. So it helps our audience save money. It helps them get quality products. It helps them sleep better. My Pillow is a great company. They grow, and then our podcast gets supported. So what I'm saying is when you're a podcaster, if you're just doing the right things, you'll get affiliates and sponsors that align with you, and everybody's helped and everybody grows. So just stay the course. But the truth is, and I know you probably know this, Daniel, but most podcasters quit after 7 episodes.
True.
So if you're going to do this, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm. And it's your passion, people, because if you have the passion of what you're doing, even if you're tired, you have to do it in a single day. So thank you for that inspiration, advice, Mr. David. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
All right. So wait, you said a book I enjoy or a book for growth or both?
Either both.
All right, well, I'm gonna go real quick and give you three, and I mean it. I'm not being super spiritual. I'm being real. Every every answer to every question is in the Bible. It's the living Word of God. Read it every day, and not just to read it like a checklist, but whether you read one verse or 10 chapters, just spend time with God and let Him speak to you. So that's number one. If you want a book on communications and relations, I think, other than the Bible, the best book ever written that I've seen is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Fantastic book. All the concepts you can tie back to scripture and verse. Even though Dale Carnegie, from his own words, wasn't a Christian, he references Jesus multiple times in the Bible through his book. And you know why his concepts work? It's not because Dale Carnegie's a genius. It's because God's perfect and he's just stealing God's ideas. Okay. And then
Mhm.
if you want a fun book that's sales oriented and entrepreneur oriented, I read it to my kids when they were little, like 8 years
Mhm.
old, and I read it to my college students. Like, I read it out loud to my college students after tests during the semester. I'd read it to them. It's called It's a Jungle in There. And it's
Mhm.
the gentleman who started the Rainforest Cafe. And it's an old book. It wasn't very famous, but man, it's hilarious. It's his life story. And even though the guy might be just certifiably crazy, he it shows you don't quit. And he did some insane things, but he's the guy that started T Rex and so many restaurants that are world famous for their creativity. But it's called It's a Jungle in There. So that's a great book for just to make you laugh and to be motivated.
Mm, definitely. Thank you for the recommended books, Mr. David. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season. Abstract poetry in third season, and of course, my book 101 review in sixth season as well. Comedy 101 third season, and Food 101 in sixth season as well. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101 review, Music 101, fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101 in its fourth season, and Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, my Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. David, to end with a forward looking lens, if someone successfully navigates an overwhelming period with this kind of resilient mindset, what is the give or strength they are often left with one of the other side that they would have do other side?
Man, I apologize. At the end, the internet cut out. You
No
said
worries.
if they implement what we talked about today and had the resilience, what was the question at the end?
What is the gift or strength they are often left with on the other side that they would not have the other side?
Oh man, confidence and peace with God. If
Yes.
you, it doesn't even matter if you succeed in the way you expected to, but if you just do the right things for the right reasons and you're steadfast, you will finish the course. And when you're done, you'll be able to pillow your head at night in peace and be proud of yourself that you did it. And even if in human eyes it doesn't seem great, you know it is in God's eyes, and that's all that counts.
Definitely. Very well said, Mr. David. And again, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your podcast, your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, you can go to remarkablepeoplepodcast.com or go to davidpasqualone.com, and everything we do is there. And if you need to reach me, just go to the contact us page, and I'd love to hear from you.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. David Pasqualone, because if you support him for more and more empowering advocacy like this to rise. And Mr. David, I'm inviting you to be part of my Entrepreneurship 101, and let's talk about entrepreneurship mindset. Looking forward for more episodes and people. And Mr. David, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome, Dan. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Bye, people. See you soon.